this content is for kids.
It's not for kids.
Isn't that what I said?
No, it's not for kids. If you are 13 years or younger, this is not for you. Do I have to kill somebody in order to actually make that point across?
No, man, you don't have to kill
Wait
no one.
a second.
Oh, no.
When we return to our planet, the High Court may well sentence you to torture.
He likes movies, we like movies. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. I'd buy that for $1.
Greetings! You're watching SeptumSin versus the world. I'm SeptumSin. This is Kotobukijake.
Hey.
We're here in regular HD, 30 frames per second, because we're going to just test it out and see. We did a 4K with the pickups, and this is going to be our regular K. So we're just going to talk about what we watched. So, I am going to, I'll cover some of the stuff that were mutual watched first, and then, because it was your month for Inside Movies Galore, have you covered that? Then we'll cover everything in between.
Okay.
So, I saw Bad Ben 2, which is Steel Manville Road, which is a prequel to Bad Ben. Very short discussion, if you want to see it. Me and Mo were the only ones on for it. And it was a nice little podcast, tight little podcast. Not the best of the Bad Ben movies, but it's going to be better at the end of this month. Because. Honey and Clover was watched because we were going to do season 1 for the anime discussion. We had to cancel it because of circumstances beyond my control. But
Postpone.
But it was good. It was good, and I am glad to see that. Let's see here. And of course, I did also watch Castle in the Sky, which is a great film, which you should check out on Mo's channel. Jake's on for the discussion. I am not on for that discussion because, well, I had things come up.
Right.
So, that's it for that. So, I will leave it to you for your month, just as a brief coverage of what you covered for Inside Movies Galore.
All right, and I'll mention what?
It was your B-Day month after all.
Right.
Though it may not be, though his birthday may not be in that month. It could be any month.
Well, I'll mention as well that I did the English dub of Castle in the Sky. For various reasons, the discussion was delayed by a week, and so I actually it's going to fall on March. Honestly, the rest of my as far as the Movies Galore / Delusions of Grandeur stuff, I think already covered Gosford Park because I watched that at the end of January. Ride with the Devil, Do the Right Thing, Mirai, and Hail Caesar and the Grand Budapest Hotel were all part of February's viewing. Definitely check out those discussions. We had decent turnout for each one, and some interesting commentaries going on some of them. Also did see a couple of commentary tracks, 1 for Do the Right Thing and 3 for Ride with the Devil, if memory serves correctly, because I actually did not mark everything on here. I had to change it in my level of employment in February, and about that time I kind of forgot about this project, so my notes may be sparse compared to what they should be, and I didn't see a whole lot in February to begin with, so we'll see how it goes.
No, this month was interesting. we're in the middle of my month.
Mm-hmm.
It was very weird. Because we had an anime, Mirai, which got panned.
Yes.
I liked it okay, though it was my least favorite of the guy's work. But I felt like I was in the polite camp.
You were.
But what's funny is the same person. When we got to my anime selection, actually praised it.
Yes, the person that claims that all anime is crap without a real particular basis.
In truth, though, that anime is not very much like a lot of other anime.
No, it's not.
Even art-wise.
No. Well, yeah, yes, no, it's not.
Though I got to have an interesting discussion with Dane, so we'll talk about more of that next month.
Yeah.
We'll go ahead and get started.
Okay.
So we'll start with some cringe. Fleas 2. The newest film by Evan Jacobs. It had a title, Fleas 2 Home Remedies. But a guy who's removing an ingrown toenail screws it up and somehow ends up, cutting off his foot.
Ugh.
And getting there is a slow and agonizing experience that I talk about a lot more in the Anhedenia project episode that I re-recorded several times because I couldn't quite get it right. It's amazing how something with that low quality of special effects can be as disturbing as it was to view. Though I think you could do Fleas all right, I do not think you could watch Fleas 2.
Good times.
Which is funny. Like I said, all it is just like some red colored water and stuff like that. But just the way that they presented it, it's amazing. And I gotta hand that for quality. That they managed to take something that is very low on the end of special effects and turn it by storytelling and acting alone into something so disturbing that it's hard to look. That's impressive.
Yeah.
Also watched Hitman on that day, which was okay. Not really memorable. Matter of fact, I don't remember hardly any of it. So I'm going to leave it at that. It's based on the video game. It was okay. And Hercules. I'm guessing it's the original Hercules.
You know better than I would.
I don't remember much of it. I just know I watched it, apparently. Must not have been very memorable. I think it's probably the original. Actually, no, I know it was the original because I was working on my used. Really, it's not very memorable. But Steve Reeves, my father loves Steve Reeves. So I wanted to have that in the collection. So I was glad to do it. If you have a few you want to throw up.
I have about 5 total.
Oh, 5 total. Well, yeah, I'll keep going down then. And then maybe you can throw in one after I go through this, these 2 days worth. The second, I watched Holmes and Watson. One of your favorites.
Is it as good as they say?
Oh, it's pretty bad. Dan sold it for me very cheap. And I was like, okay, I finally can watch it. And it was about as good as you would expect. And that's all I have to say about that, really. It's... You ever been in that movie where you know the jokes are supposed to be funny, but not a single one of them land?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much the whole of it.
Nice.
The timing was shit. I think with better comedic timing, they could have made it.
Which is a shame, because it has a solid cast. Yeah. And, I mean, I really... doesn't that one have Hugh Laurie as Mycroft?
Yeah, and...
I would have loved to have seen him do that in a good movie.
And Will Ferrell... I mean, it started okay. It started actually good enough. It just... no. All right. The Host, I watched... Oh, wait. No, let me change there. Well, I'll go ahead. The Host, which is a... by the author of Twilight. Much better book than the Twilight series. Really well written. Even if you don't like Twilight, you should read The Host. It's about these aliens that invade Earth. What happens is they abduct you. they insert these alien beings into your spine. It grafts itself to you, and then they take over the body. And one of the bodies kind of fights back mind-wise, and you get to see kind of them bonding with the resistance. This one did a decent enough job. I haven't read the book in a while. I've heard it's not as good as the book, which is very possible because the book was really good. And Twilight wasn't all that bad book-wise. Movie-wise, it was terrible. But book-wise, it was okay. This was really good. This movie was okay, and the book was good, so it's worth watching.
Cool.
Unless you want to read the book, which would be better. Of course, there's Ride with the Devil. Home Before Midnight. Again, I don't remember much about that, so therefore it must not be worth discussing.
Okay.
I did watch The Howling, which I talked about on our pickups. Matter of fact, that is in our pickups. It was really good. I mean, it's something that surprised me. I usually don't like werewolf films, but this one really did impress me. I might want to watch the others. I like to watch more of this world stuff.
Cool.
And then, of course, I finally watched Raya, which was really good. It kind of had some Avatar Last Airbender feel to it. I didn't like it as much as I did in Encanto, but it was still a pretty good film. And to me, the best performance that I've seen this, and for 2021 for Aquafina, it, to me, easily topped her performance in Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
So, you know, if I was to give her, she might actually be up for that voice actress award for this particular role.
Raya and the Last Dragon, rather, overall had some really solid vocal acting and really solid animation. It was an incredible animation. It was a good film all around. But yeah, I did think that it kind of shamelessly ripped off Avatar in terms of basic plot. But, you know, it's a good plot.
Yeah.
And anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and do one. This was one that was one of the most acclaimed films of the year that nobody saw. So obviously I had to make a point to see it. And that was the Nicolas Cage starrer Pig, which basically Cage plays a gourmand and former master chef, basically, who has gone off the grid. He lives in the Pacific Northwest, off the grid, like out in the sticks, with his only companion is his prized truffle hunting pig. And he is a very, very, very fond of his pig. And there's a brash young businessman who comes in from the city every now and then to collect truffles from this guy, and that's basically how he keeps solvent. This guy pays him a premium for wild collected truffles. And one night, our friendly or not so friendly chef gets his house broken into, his ass beat, and his pig stolen. And he forces his young contact with the civilized world, forces him to take him into the city and help him get his pig back. It's been described frequently as a gourmand's John Wick. And if you go into it expecting that, you will be disappointed. I spent the whole movie waiting for him to... Because it's Nick Cage, too. You spend the whole movie waiting for him to go full Nick Cage and beat some fools for his pig. I'm not going to say how the movie ends, but I'm going to say it did not go in the direction I was led to believe. That being said, it is one of his better performances. and it's a different movie. It's a fascinating movie, and it's one of those movies that you're watching it and you kind of feel a little bit hungry as you're watching it because you're going to see all this good food. But
really want to eat pork afterwards.
exactly. But it was an interesting one, and I'm glad I watched it. I don't know if it'll be big on our Versus Awards or not. Probably not, but I could be wrong. Someone else might see it and think it's the greatest film ever. But yeah.
So, are you familiar with the film Inside Job? It's
Is that Spike Lee joint?
It's a.
Oh, that's Inside Man. You're talking about the documentary, right?
It's a 2021 film, but I can't remember
Then
much
no,
about
I don't know anything about it.
it. I don't remember much about it either, so it must not have been worth talking about. So we'll move on to the fifth. Death to 2020. Next time we do this, I'm going to actually look up things that I'm not familiar with ahead of time. I just didn't think about it beforehand.
Yeah.
Death to 2020, I showed my mother this because I thought it was something worth, we were looking for something to watch while I was visiting.
Mm-hmm.
And it was good. I mean, I enjoyed it the first time. It's a mockumentary that went over the year 2020. I thought it was hilarious. If you haven't watched it and you've got Netflix, you should watch it. And its sequel, Death to 2021. Both hilarious films. I thought it was like,
Cool.
I saw this new reality TV show. It's called America. I don't know how they keep thinking of stuff like this. It's just too wild to be true. I'm just thinking it was like, yes.
Nice.
So true.
Nice. I guess I'll have to see that one.
One I watched called Midnight Asia.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a... Oh, wait. I know what Inside Job is now. Inside Job is that animated feature that kind of looks like Rick and Morty from Netflix. It's hilarious. I don't know why I forgot about it. But it was really good. It stars this girl whose name is Reagan. She's in her 30s, and she's working for this place that apparently is home to the Illuminati and various other places, and plays off of a ton of conspiracy theories. It is quite funny to watch, and especially if you follow conspiracy series, it's there.
I have to ask David if he's seen that, because that sounds like his.
He would
that
like
looks
that.
like his thing.
He would like that. I think you'd like it too. I think you'd enjoy it. Midnight Asia is another series by Netflix, which is also really good, and it just basically shows the nightlife in various countries over in that side. Well, they had Tokyo as one of them, which was kind of cool. They had Taiwan. They had several things. They had several places shown, and it really was cool. It follows several business owners and people who are patrons. It's just general cool.
Cool. Did you say Inside Job was a feature or a series?
Series.
Oh, okay.
On the 8th, I watched the Criterion film If, which is a Malcolm McDowell film, an early film with him. One that's lesser watched these days because of, school shootings. Because it ends in a school shooting. But a very interesting kind of early take. Has reminiscent taste of his role in Clockwork Orange in some ways. Not quite as sinister. More of a free spirit than kind of evil in this one. Then I watched Independence Day, S'. That was I am debating whether to keep it or not. I may keep it because it's so bad that maybe I should keep it. I mean, it's I mean, you have a lot of these. It very much caters to the militia crowd. All right, I'll do this, Dan, and then we'll move to another one from you.
Cool.
Attica. Attica is well worth watching. It's an Oscar-nominated documentary. It is about the Attica riots, prison riots. Terrible event in history. You talk about racism and something that you could not have taught in Texas or Florida. because it would be considered divisive. Which it means that, it was a bunch of the prisoners were put down, and pretty much just the black prisoners were put down. Yeah. But it is something to watch.
Where did that take place?
New York, I believe.
New York?
Was it New York or New Jersey? It's in that
I can't
one of
remember.
those two. Flea, one of the animated features, in my opinion, the best animated feature. It is a story about a refugee who also happens to be gay, and having those two things that they have to struggle with. But that person's struggle moving or getting away from where he was. I believe in this case it was Afghanistan. And eventually settling in, I think Denmark or something like that.
That
Based
sounds
off a
right.
true story. Very good film. Very much worth watching.
And a history-making film.
4 Good Days. I believe that's another Oscar-nominated one.
Sounds right.
I cannot remember what it was about. So it must not have been all that great. But it was Oscar-nominated, so it probably was okay.
Isn't that one also a documentary?
I think so.
So all 3 of those are in the
What was that
documentary
about?
category.
Do you have like a... You got a phone. I see, my phone is being used to record, so I can't look it up.
I can look it up, I guess. Yeah, I need to see all those. Where did you find each one of those?
Off the top of my head, let's see here. Probably Hulu was for a couple. Netflix was a couple. Prime was a couple.
I'd have to check, but I don't remember any of those being on.
Those are the 3 that I got most of my stuff from. YouTube was the other source. HBO, Max I got some stuff off of, but that was recent stuff. I'm trying to think of what else. Disney
Actually,
Plus as well. Disney Plus I got
No,
stuff.
4 Good Days. Is this the one? I see something here. Mother helps her daughter work through 4 crucial days of recovery from substance abuse.
Oh yes, that is an Oscar nomination.
So it's up for original. Oh right, original song for Diane Warren. Her 12th nomination.
It's a good film, good song. But
Mila Kunis and
definitely
wow, Mila Kunis, Glenn Close, and Stephen Root. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I'm surprised I couldn't remember it. But I've watched a lot of films, so it makes sense. Go ahead and throw out one.
Okay, well, I need to see all 3 of those actually, especially Flea, first film ever nominated for animated feature, documentary, and foreign language feature, which is something that could have been pulled off by Waltz with Bashir, but it wasn't. I have an Oscar nominee up, which is a nominee for documentary short. This one is on Netflix. A movie called 3 Songs from His Ear.
Yep.
Which also I had gone into that one with incorrect expectations, but that one is entirely on me because for whatever reason I had assumed it may have something to do with Benazir Bhutto, the late Pakistani Prime Minister, and no, it did not. It's actually about an Afghan family, a young family, a husband and wife, and his wife is Benazir. And he wants to serve his country in the military, and everyone else is like, no, man, you're just being foolish. No, you need to be here with the wife. And so it's basically about a story about Afghans trying to make do with the shite situation that they have been in for the last few years. And it's not a particularly long film. Honestly, I thought it could have been a little more impressive overall, but it was still a good film, and I can see why it got the nomination.
It's decent, but nowhere near some of the other ones I've seen. Well, actually 3 more Oscar noms.
Okay.
Summer of Soul, very good, about the soul celebration that they had in New York.
In Harlem, yeah.
In Harlem, and it was a very cool documentary, very reminiscent of the Woodstock documentary that they did a while back. Also Oscar winner for that. Not as long.
Well, it took place at the same time as Woodstock, which
and Woodstock overshadowed it quite
very
a bit.
much.
But again, race very much prominent, and well worth checking out?
The directorial debut of Questlove, and he did a great job putting together all that footage. It really,
It's good that it got seen.
that film should have been up for editing. I mean, that was like, how much? Something. It was over 40 hours of footage, I think, that they went through for that. That takes some skill to edit that together into a good film. Not to mention use of music in film. Did you have a couple more?
Yeah, I'll go through this day
Yeah.
if you want to throw another one out.
Go
after
for
that.
it.
So Cruella, another Oscar nominated, which is Devil Wears Prada with Disney involved. It really is
Sort of, yeah.
That's a simplistic.
Yeah.
It's kind of an origin story for Cruella de Vil, and it was good. It was better than a lot of these type of movies, and I did like it better than the Maleficent films. So, more power to it. If it wins, I wouldn't mind getting it. May get it anyway. Haven't decided yet. I don't have the money to really do a Disney movie order right now. But when I do, I've got a lot of them I got a lot of things that are on my list.
I don't either, but I put an order in. That one almost made the list.
One I hope that doesn't win because I really don't want to have any need to get, even though it is getting a physical, which is coming to America. It rehashes a lot of the old jokes, but it's not as good. And I don't know. Did you seen it yet?
I have not.
It's on Prime, but it's...
Is it on Prime?
Yeah, it's on
Okay,
Prime.
cool.
They're the main ones that finance it, which is why I thought, oh, wow, it's getting a physical. But, I don't know, it wasn't that good. Not to me, anyway. But
Yeah.
Maybe other people really liked it. I don't know. All right, go ahead.
Okay. Well, my next one is one that not surprisingly got overlooked by Oscar, but in a way it's kind of a shame that it did. And honestly, this is one of the ones that I'm not positive I inserted it on my list in the right spot. It's one of the ones I forgot to note, but I'm quite sure that I saw it before a couple of the other items on my list. So I will go with February. Okay. And that is the new film from M. Night Shyamalan, which is called Old. Old is interesting. It's Shyamalan has gotten kind of a bad rep over the years because he's one of those directors who kind of painted himself into the corner with the film that put him onto the map, which was, the twist endings, and then, of course, everyone was disappointed by his twist endings, and now he's kind of, and then, of course, he did that abomination, from what I hear, I never did watch it, of the Last Airbender, but he continues to work steadily, and he has a lot of skill as a filmmaker and as a storyteller, and a little bit as an actor. Old actually features him in one of his biggest roles yet, which he's actually playing one of the villains in the movie, which is actually interesting because this is a movie that has villains. Not all of his movies do. At least on the traditional sense. And it's a bright, sunny, tropical resort film about a family that gets a mysterious offer to come to a resort. Gael Garcia Bernal plays the father. He's got a wife. There's 2 kids who are 6 and 11. And they go to this resort, and they are blown away with the reception, the hospitality. It's just this wonderful thing. And the owner of the resort is like, or the manager of the resort is like, you know what? We have a private beach. I think you guys will be perfect for it. You should go see it. And they end up, their private beach, they end up going with another family, and they're like, and it's like this older gentleman who's played by Rupert Everett, sorry, his trophy wife, his mother, and their little girl, who is also 6, I think. And then they get to the beach, and they find out there's another dude already hanging out on the beach, but just acting really weird. And the girl recognizes him as a famous rapper. And then I think his name is Midsize Sedan or something like that. And then, and incidentally, Shyamalan's the one who takes them to the beach. They realize things are amiss when a body washes up. And then when the mother suddenly dies. And then when the body turns to dust just hours after they found it. And then they realize, wait a minute, these kids that were 6, 6, and 11, well now, one of them's an older teen and 2 of them are tweens. What? And it turns out time moves very quickly on this beach. The twist, such as it is in this movie, I'm not going to give it away. I actually kind of liked it. I liked the way that the villains factored into the story. Again, I'm not going to give too much away. I think the movie could have been done better. It could have been tightened up a little. But it deserved a lot more than it got. And Shyamalan's daughter, Salika, actually wrote a song called Remain that plays over the end credits. And it's a good song. It should have been in the mix for original song. And I see this as a contender for poster cover design and maybe a couple others. So, good times.
Would you look up The Hand of God for me?
Or
do you know it already?
I know of it. I know it's one I need to see.
But while you're doing that, I saw Being the Ricardos, which another Oscar nominee.
Need to see that too.
I think they're both Oscar.
Oh yeah, so Hand of God is the new one from that guy, Paolo Sorrentino, the guy that did The Great Beauty and Youth and some of those others. And it stars Tony Servillo, who's in most of his movies.
What does it say it's about?
In 1980s Naples, young Fabietto pursues his love for football as family tragedy strikes, shaping his uncertain but promising future as a filmmaker.
Okay, yeah, I got a basic idea of that, and it really wasn't something I had that was memorable for me. But
I like Sorrentino's films. I need to see it.
You would. But Being the Ricardos is one that did stick with me, which talks about like a very interesting time in the filming of I Love Lucy, where she's pregnant and they're working on that. Then there's the communism scare. Then there's the Ricky cheating on her thing. It's a lot of well, not Ricky, Desi.
Yeah.
But it is really good. I was a little bit cautious about it. And I'll admit, at first I was like, they don't look like that. I mean, I still am not quite sure about the choice for Ricky. I mean, for Desi, basically. Because he really doesn't sound like Desi at all. And he kind of doesn't carry himself like Desi. But the woman who played Lucille Ball, I mean, at first I wasn't convinced. But when they had her like on...
That was Nicole Kidman, wasn't it?
I think so. When she came on, it took my breath away. I said, okay, that's her. It didn't happen for that. What was his name? Darn it.
Which one?
The guy who played Desi Arnaz.
It's Javier Bardem.
Yes. Javier Bardem is a great actor, but I did not feel like he's suited for that role.
He doesn't look like Desi Arnaz.
Doesn't look like him, doesn't sound like him, doesn't sing like him. It could have gone... they could have gone better. I think they went for the name.
Well, yeah, and of course...
And he's not Cuban either.
That caused some controversy, which he did not help the controversy because he was talking about minority representation and whatever. And in his mind, Spaniards are not well represented in American cinema. But a lot of people are like, but you're not Cuban. And it's like, which, to be honest, when I was watching I Love Lucy, you know who I thought Desi Arnaz looked exactly like? I thought he looked just like Johnny Depp. But that would have really pissed people off because he is not Hispanic.
But how many do you have left?
I've got like 2.
All right, let me go through this.
Okay.
I'll go up to this part, and then we'll get to you.
Okay.
And then I'll do the rest of my stuff, and then you can end us on your last one.
Okay.
All right, so I watched the new Guillermo del Toro film, Nightmare Alley, which was pretty good. I really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
I had to get some more analysis of it. I still don't quite understand all the motivations involved, which doesn't help. Apparently, the reading material nor the other movie really explains the motivations of it all. So it's kind of there. It's a noir film that I actually was getting into. I love the creepy circus vibes. I like the way that, Del Toro does an excellent job of presenting it.
Mm-hmm.
It made me really like something in a genre I normally don't care for.
Mm-hmm.
So I was really good about that. It's essentially about this dude who winds up at a circus after doing something he probably should regret and probably will later on. He becomes a mentalist, which is basically an evil therapist, essentially, and hooks up with this psychiatrist to try and swindle a very eccentric rich person.
Mm-hmm.
That's the simplistic view.
Mm-hmm.
The next one is Power of the Dog, which I believe is another Oscar nominee.
Believe nothing. It's like the dominant nominee.
What is that one about?
Huh?
Have you seen it yet?
Well, who was it? I was reading a review or watching a review yesterday. They said it was about Dog the Bounty Hunter, and it was.
Again, I don't remember it off the top of my head, but I've watched a lot of stuff. Right. I'm sure if I had a jog of the memory, I would.
It's a Jane Campion Western about a guy who's a total rat bastard, and his, I think his brother comes to live with him with his family or something like that. It's got Benedict Cumberbatch and Jesse Plemons and
I'm sure I'll remember it later on.
Kirsten Dunst. Yeah, I need to see that. I really do.
But I'm sure once I look at a good summary of it and some pictures of it, I will remember it. But obviously not one that struck me. And then before I move on, one that is memorable, I watched finally for the first time is Maximum Overdrive. About, alien, comet that makes machines come to life, particularly trucks, and they hold people hostage for their bid on world domination.
Oh, jeez.
It's actually quite fun. It's as fun as it sounds.
So, am I remembering correctly the one and only movie directed by Stephen King?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, so on just exactly that sort of note, a film that's up for a handful of Oscars, but not any of the big ones, which some people were very upset by, is one of the films that definitely got delayed by the COVID, which got finally came out earlier in mid 2021. Which was the final Daniel Craig James Bond, which is called No Time to Die, which, without getting into specifics, is a misnomer. I'm not going to say everyone dies, but let's just say this one had a body count.
Of course.
One, even by Bond standards, this one had a body count. So I love how it's called No Time to Die. Right?
There's always time.
Oh yeah, there's always time for that. Shoot, I just skipped ahead, but whatever. We're going to end on a weak one, but whatever.
Well,
but No Time to Die was very good. It was rather melancholic for a Bond film. It had some good stuff. It had some great cameos, great action. For those who would rather see a different Bond, they definitely can look forward to that with the next installment. For those who enjoy Daniel Craig as Bond, they got to see him go out with style. So, yeah, we had a gloriously fun cameo from Ana de Armas. We had another appearance from Christoph Waltz as Blofeld. We had another appearance from Jeffrey Wright as Felix Leiter. We had a new 007, who I believe is getting a spin-off series, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, the female one.
Yes. And I think her name's Noni or something like
A
that.
lot of people were upset that she's not taking over as James Bond.
She's not James Bond.
Yeah, well, you can just call her James Bond, and then she can be.
They're already calling her 007. Why do they need to call her James Bond?
So that we can.
It's just
so that we can be like fair and good.
I'm going to try to keep this without spoiler or minimal spoilers. The film technically sets up a way to where we could have a female James Bond after a fashion. That's a very, very, very hopefully vague way of saying that it's not impossible.
There you go.
But anyone that's really hung up on that, just let this woman have her own series. They could still call it a 007 film, and I don't know. Anyway, so there's that one. No Time to Die. Good film, worth watching. Probably should have had a couple more Oscar nods than it did, but
I admit I haven't watched this one and the one before it, which was start with an S.
Spectre.
Yeah, I haven't watched those two. Well, I was really impressed by Skyfall.
Oh yeah.
Because Quantum of Solace. Well, actually, Quantum of Solace, I thought to myself, I actually liked it because to me, Quantum of Solace, they had the balls to go where they wanted to go with that Bond. And that's how I think they really wanted Daniel Craig's Bond movies to go from there on out. But Quantum of Solace kind of didn't do so well. And so they overcorrected for Skyfall, which to me was great because Skyfall was the most Bond-feeling film out of the Daniel Craig ones for me. And I liked it. So I am looking forward to checking it out. What I want to do is I'm waiting until they do a 4K collection. And then I'm just going to replace my old collection with that. Because mine's kind of ratty. And that's going to be... and that way I'll have it all the way up to... through at least that generation.
Right. So, it would make perfect sense that when Craig is done, if they would do like a massive Bond set to go, that would make sense.
Because they have a Bond set that goes all the way through.
That would even be
Spectra,
would even be a good logical point to do a Criterion Bond collection. That'd be cool.
But I doubt the series is ending anytime soon.
No, probably not.
So I watched a series called Borat's American Lockdown. Really, it's more of a one episode with some explanation episodes afterwards. Okay. Because it's a conspiracy theory explanation series afterwards, where it just goes over one after the other. Yeah. Where it's Borat in lockdown with two QAnon type people, and it is interesting. And they ended it with him going to a QAnon festival looking for his daughter, which kind of falls on the heels of the second movie. Yeah. And it was actually quite funny. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was hilarious. It was great because, I mean, in a way it shows that, we always look at the other and we kind of are against it. But, these people are good people. They genuinely wanted to help Borat. I mean, it's Borat. You either like it or you don't like it. This is where it is. Then I watched Scare Package, which I gave him for a birthday gift. And it's a fun little horror comedy. Essentially, it's about this person that runs a movie store, and it has a bunch of little anthology pictures in between. And the movie store is kind of the thing that wraps it all together. And then you have the main story that follows them at the end, and it kind of wraps around back to the beginning again. It's generally fun. I really enjoyed it. On Shudder, I saw it and I had gotten it, and I was happy to have it. Okay. Watched the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which people are mixed about. To me, this is the best thing that they could have done with Texas Chainsaw, in my opinion. I really don't think they're going to get the level that they had for the original. Like, people were there. They had that remake that was really good. But really and truly, this is the best you could hope for, which is the Halloween Kills, I guess you could say, of Texas Chainsaw. And boy, the body count. Okay, so there is a scene where they're on a bus and just a bunch of Gen Z kids. And automatically all take their phones out. And one guy's like, your stuff's over, mister. You're canceled. Well, we figure out Leatherface does not seem to care much about being canceled. As he proceeds on one of the bloodiest rampages I've ever seen for Leatherface. I have not seen the movie Leatherface, but I've seen all the other Texas Chainsaw movies, and none of them got as bloody as this one did.
Lovely.
It's really good. I really enjoyed it. Don't expect a lot.